Shalom. Call halal, YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, BaHa, SHAM, QADASH. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth among the heathen nations that look like those heathen nations. And to the Akwath that are listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother MALCHAAMAH from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And as you can see, the title of this book by John J. Collins and Gregory E. Sterling, they were the editors, author and editors, and it's called Hellenism in the Land of Israel. A subject matter that the Christian churches and Judaism have left out. All right. They don't talk about the Hellenization, especially in Christianity, of the Israelites. All right. And I really dislike that remember the letter J wasn't created to 1534, and it wasn't really being used in books until the 1600s, about 1634. So no one was being called a Jew or Jewish. All right. Those are printed words, and those words come with a whole different doctrine and a whole different vibration, a whole different story, and its own religion, which is actually in opposition to the Bible. You can read Isaiah 34:16. All right, to get to the Lord and to get to the Father, you have to go through one book, and that book is the Holy Bible, Apocrypha included, King James Version. All right, but I'm gonna read the back of this book, and it says Christianity and Judaism in antiquity. Gregory E. Sterling, series editor. Hellenism in the Land of Israel, edited by John J. Collins and Gregory E. Sterling, a formidable collection of leading scholars in the field. Anyone interested in the intellectual interplay between Judaism and Hellenism. Remember, the Bible was about the law, statutes, and commandments. It was not about Judaism. Judaism is a religion that actually goes against the Bible. All right, they have their own book. They have the Talmud. Judaism is connected to the Talmud. It really has nothing to do with the Bible. As a matter of fact, like I said, Judaism and the Bible are actually in conflict with one another. All right, just start reading the books in the Sanhedrin. All right. The Bible, the book of, you got the book of the Torah, was written by Moses, first 5 books, and then you have the Tanakh, was the book of the prophets, and none of them mention the Sanhedrin or Judaism. All right, just for the record, okay. But it says between Judaism and Hellenism in antiquity. Should own this fine collection of well-written and highly accessible essays. In reviewing the articles in the recent volume, it will be possible to do justice to each and every one, all deserving a careful study, and each expanded our horizons with respect of the topic in question for furthering our awareness and understanding of the important phenomenon in ancient Judaism. See, once again, this whole thing. Abraham was not Jewish. Isaac was not Jewish. Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, was not Jewish. They were all Israelites. They were Hebrews. And they followed the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? This whole Jewish thing came about when John Hyrcanus converted Edomites to following the law, statutes, and commandments. And then that whole word Jew is a play on the word on the one son, the fourth son, Judah. All right. And Judah and the Judeans never referred to themselves as Jews. That's the word that's written, that's printed modern day to control the narrative. All right. So it says furthering our awareness and understanding of this important phenomenon among ancient Israelites, I'm just going to say it, we were profoundly indebted to the organization of this conference, who also produced an impressive volume of studies. This book is a must for anyone interested in investing this most central topic in the study of ancient Jewish society. Superb collection, authors constitute veritable who's in Hellenistic Jewish scholars. Fully indexed and carefully crafted, this volume is essential reading for those with serious interest in the Hellenistic world. And if you really are serious about learning about the Hellenistic world, all you have to do is read the Apocrypha. All right? And it says, this important collection continues the work of discussing how and to what degree the Jews were Hellenized as a part of the Hellenistic world. All right? John C. Collins, Holmes Professor in Old Testament Criticism and Interpretation at Yale University. Gregory E. Sterling is a professor of theology and senior associate dean of College of Arts in the Letter of University of Notre Dame. Contributors: Martin Hagel, John J. Collins, Eric S. Gruen, Robert Duran, J. Willem Van Hinten, Edgar Krentz, Peter W. Van Horst, James C. Vanderkam, Sean Fryen, Shay, J.D. Cohen, Tessa Rajic, Gregory E. Sterling, Martin Goodman. So there was a lot of, Jewish individuals and scholars that are involved in this. All right, so now let's go to the actual record, which is the Bible. Okay, so let's go to, I'm going to start with 2 Maccabees. Because they're giving you information, but they're also putting a spin on it to try to control the narrative. Once again, Abraham was a Hebrew. That's Genesis 14 and Genesis 13. All right. Matter of fact, let me see. 14. Let me just select you. No, it's in Genesis 14 or 13, one or the other. 14, 13. Well, I was right there. It says, and there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite brother of Eshcol, the brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abram. So Abram, all right, who became Abraham, was not Jewish. All right, he was a Hebrew. Okay. His son Isaac was a Hebrew, and his grandson Jacob was a Hebrew, and his great-grandsons, the 12 patriarchs of Israel, were all Hebrews. None of them were Jewish. All right? Remember, the Jewish is connected to Judaism, which follows the Talmud, not the Bible. Okay? The Bible is in direct conflict with Judaism, same as it is in direct conflict with Christianity. Facts. Okay? So let's go to 2 Maccabees 4 and 10. And it reads, which when the king had granted, he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion. So the Israelites were brought to the Greekish fashion, all right, during this time period, for about 400 years before the birth of who the world ignorantly calls Christ, before the birth of YAHAWASHI. Okay? All right. Matter of fact, let me go to John. So when the Bible talks about, there's no difference between the Greek nor the Jew, it's talking about those Hellenized Israelites who have been Hellenized for 400 plus years. All right. That's why it meant that. And then I'm going to prove it with scripture. Let me go to John. John 12. I think 19. 12, 19, and 20. And it reads, the Pharisees therefore said among themselves, Perceive ye how to prevail nothing. Behold, the world is gone after him. It's talking about the same world as in John 3:16. Cosmos, meaning the world of Israel, the Israelites, not the whole world. Like Christianity teaches that lie to control the narrative, to try to, make the Bible is a very inclusive book. I mean, it's a very exclusive book. You can't include everyone into the book. All right. If it meant John 3:16 or John 12:19, what I just read, if it meant the whole world there, the word there will be oikoumene, and that Greek word therefore, because remember the New Testament is written in Greek, and the Greek word, if you go look it up, it's going to be G2865, cosmos. That orderly arrangement. What was that orderly arrangement? That orderly arrangement that was made between Israel and the Most High God. All right, Yahawah, via Moses, in which when he sprinkled the blood on them, so they made that covenant with the Lord by blood. That world, Isaiah 45 and 17, the world of Israel. Every nation that was created under the sun is its own world. All right. Once again, if it meant everyone, the word there would be world as in oikoumene, meaning the inhabited earth, everyone. It excluded everyone else and only counted the cosmos. So the Bible was so that whole Christian, John 3:16, for God so loved the world. Well, they're coming with the English American European translation of the word world, English translation. All right. And it's a wrong translation. But continuing on, it says, the Pharisees therefore said among themselves, perceive ye how ye prevail nothing. Behold, the world is gone after him. Meaning the Israelites were following after YAHAWASHI. And there were certain Greeks among them that came up to worship at the feast. Why were these Greeks? Because these Greeks came to the remembrance. Beloved brother out in Florida I was watching the live video. He was on live earlier when I was on my travels. I was watching, listening to it. I was going back and forth between him and Chicago, listening to both videos. And he did a video called, we remembered ourselves, or we're remembering ourselves. That's actually in the midst of happening. We have remembered ourselves, or something to that effect, which has got these Edomites scared. They're horrified that we waking up to and remembered who we are, which is prophecy. So any people, with the, with ish on the last part of their title, claiming that they've been the people all along, that doesn't fit prophecy. That's not what the Bible says. The Israelites got cut off from their heritage for a long period of time and got scattered among all the nations of the world. And the prophecy is that in the end of days, in the last days, they will remember themselves and remember the name and call upon the name, which also means that the names have been being used are incorrect. All right. And they're angry that's why they send people like Vocab and Dr. Brown and different individuals to try to sow seeds of discord and, and to try to shine a bad light to turn people back to darkness when we've been turned to the light. Okay. So let's go to matter of fact, let me read John 7:35, but I'm gonna read this one out of the NLT. And it says, and the Jews said to one another, this is John 7:35 in the NLT, New Living Translation, or NIV actually, New International Version. All right. And it reads, the Jews said to one another, where does this man intend to go that we cannot find him? Will he go where our people live scattered among the Greeks and teach the Greeks? I don't know how much plainer you can get. He just said our people scattered among the Greeks and teach the Greeks. So our people that are being called by the Greek. Hence the reason why there's no difference between, neither Jew nor Greek, or no difference between them, because according to blood, they're all Israelites. Okay? Point blank period. Of the same ethnos. All right, so let's grab a couple of more scriptures. Let's go to 1 Maccabees 1 and read 41 through 51. So that's a bit of reading. First chapter, verse 41. And I'm going to run through it. This is 1 Maccabees 1 and 41. And it reads, Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to the whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his law. So all the heathen agreed to the commandment of the king. So, you got to remember, when Antiochus was ruling Jerusalem and all in different parts of the east, and all the different provinces that he had rulership over, it was like being in New York or Chicago. All people were there, right? So because you had, the Hamites there, Moab, Ammon, Ishmael, Elam, all people were there. Okay, it was a melting pot, just like today, of confusion. All right, so it says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his law. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. It said many of the Israelites, not all. So some of the Israelites continued to follow, the law, statutes, and commandments, and then the rest basically, took bend the knee to the will of Antiochus and started following after these. Thus, this is what started the Maccabean revolt. All right. Okay. But it says, for the king had sent many letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifices and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. They should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanliness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the law and change all ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to this command of the king, he said, should die. All right. In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah, not Jewish, to sacrifice city by city. So all the different places where the Judites were, the king, what was left of the kingdom of Judah, which was consisted of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. All right. This is what was happening. They were being forbid to follow their ways, and that was the 400 years of Hellenization, of following after the Greekish fashion, which Esau had prescribed. You got to remember, Esau wasn't even the real Greeks. They took over the Grecian society, changed all their melanated gods to pale, to look like them, and then beginning to worship and follow their ways. And then when Rome came along, they took many of those same Grecian false gods and changed their names. This is the truth. This is what happened. And for 400 years, our people were living in this condition, which is why when you get to Matthew, you got a group of our people, many of our people were waking up and beginning to follow the Lord. All right? The sheep began to hear his voice. Fast forward to modern day, it's happening all over again. All right? Because we were Hellenized yet again in Babylon. Let's jump back to the same book. Let's go to Maccabees 1 and 10, because many of our own leaders, our own elders and people misled our people into this Greekish fashion. First Maccabees 1 and I started 9. And it says, and after his death, the death of Alexander, because Alexander took over all of Europe and all of the East, all of Asia, all of Asia, all of Europe, and most of North Africa. All right. And it says, and after his death, they all put crowns on themselves, so that their sons after them many years, and evils multiplied in the earth. All right. So Alexander, after he died, his 4 servants, he divided the kingdom among them. All right. His 4 servants, his 4 generals. And then they continue, and then they started warring and fighting with each other. And look at what's going on with Esau, Edom now. That's why we're about to enter into World War III. The Edomites are at each other's throats yet again. And they put crowns upon themselves, and they falsely call themselves royals when they're not. All right? Same thing today. And that's what Job 9:24 says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Evil's multiplied in the earth when so-called white people, so-called Caucasians, the Edomites, came into power. And then they have the nerve to say this is the cradle of civilization. All right? This is the cradle of backwardness, because this is when light left the earth, and that's why all the paradises on earth are turned to ruin when these people came into power. All right? And they think they just get to ride off into the sunset, and there's no payment for that. That's why they're so afraid of this awakening. But this is verse 10, 1 Maccabees 1:10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been held hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year in the kingdom of the Greeks. So around this time is when he began to push the Greekish fashion unto the Israelites. And here it is, verse 11. And in those days there went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are around about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen, wherein they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. They trained naked. All right. They started following the ways of the heathen, and they followed them for 400 years until John the Baptist showed up to pave the way for the Lord. And all the prophecies began to play out. All right. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. All right. And it's 2 days later. We're going into the third day. All right. And the Lord is about to come. All the signs are here. The awakening is happening. The MOTB is here. The persecution of those who have awakened, it's all happening. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, all honor and glory unto Yahawah, BaHa, YAHAWASHI, BaHa, SHAM, QADASH, YAHAWAH, Kwam Yasharala, Shalom.